And it all started because you wanted to make another film and couldn't get the funding for that film. And now, you have, I believe, probably plenty of funding for your next movie, I'm sure. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that movie. I know it's also about Taiwanese history and culture, but this time from I guess a more historical perspective, which is about the Aboriginal people. I know many of our audiences know that the island of Taiwan was made up of inhabitants from many centuries ago, but also from the Cultural Revolution. There were a lot of immigrants that went over to Taiwan from China. But there are people that were there centuries and centuries before that, and those were the Aboriginal people of Taiwan. Maybe you can tell us a little bit of background about your story.
赛德克巴莱这个计划，其实是我早在1997年看到一个新闻事件，也是新闻事件所得到一个想法。因为那时候我看到一个原住民的抗议的事件，在台湾就是一群原住民他们在抗议还我土地运动这样子，很讽刺诶。下一个新闻是什么？是香港回归问题。那我觉得这种对比下来，我就觉得说，哇，那相对于土地这个事情，我们失去的难道只是土地而已吗？我们失去难道只有土地这种这么表象的东西问题吗？所以当我去整个去了解一下整个原住民的历史里面发现了雾社事件这个事情，然后我仔细去研读它以后，发现这个历史太悲壮了。我们怎么可以忘记有这么一段可以让一个民族产生尊严的一个历史？那所以我就开始努力去思考研读这个历史背景，然后去创作这个故事这样子。然后比较这个题材比较不一样的是。以往人家会用日本人的角度看这个历史，或是用汉民族的角度去看这个历史，从来没有人用过原住民的角度去看待这个事件的爆发原因是什么。那我们这部电影就希望站在战场上的男人，这些原住民的思考，怎么用那个叫信仰的角度来去看待这个雾社事件的这个历史。
Yeah, it's something. In 1997, Director Wei saw a news about the Aboriginal people in Taiwan. They asked the government to return their land, and so that was the news. But the next one after the news after that news was the Hong Kong reunion with the China. So he thought it's really ironic to see those two news together. Because that's about the question about the land, about the people's land. So he was very interested in that news, and then he started to find some document about these Aboriginal people. And also he found that what happened in the 1930s about the Wusha incident, and there was a lot of documents about that incident, and from the point of view of Taiwanese people and from the Japanese people too. But there was any. That's
not so much from the Aboriginal perspective.
Yeah, perspective. Okay. So that's why make it very
interesting. This is a film that we haven't seen before.
Yeah. So he would like to do the film from that point of view, from the bigger perspective, to see to look at the incident and to make the film from that point perspective.
Thank you. Fantastic. We know we have a lot more to discuss. We want to talk more about Cape Number 7, this film, and also Chocolate Wrap, another film that has a little bit of a different perspective. It talks about more contemporary Taiwanese culture. So when we come back, we're going to discuss a little bit more. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to Top Topic. I'm your host, Lynn Liu. Today we have some very special guests with us, Director Wei and Director Li, both whose films are being screened at the first Los Angeles Taiwanese Film Festival at UCLA this weekend. Earlier we were talking with Director Wei about his film Cape Number 7, one of the best-selling films of all time in Taiwanese history. It's a huge coup. and we're discussing how Taiwanese culture, the perspective of Taiwanese culture, and how the universal themes of love and happiness, and I mean, there's romance, there's music, all of these different things are really something that touches the lives of all viewers, whether they be from Taiwan or whether they be American audiences who've had a wonderful who've received the movie very well here, from what I've heard, and also Director Lee. Director Lee here has a film called Chocolate Wrap. Now, Chocolate Wrap is a little bit different because while it also has very universal themes, it's more of a contemporary film. From what I understand, it's a film about hip-hop culture in Taiwan. Now, you're a graduate of UCLA. I also graduated from UCLA. Great. And what's funny is when I was at UCLA, I was part of the Chinese American Association, and I was a hip-hop dancer on a team there. Okay. Yeah. So, it was really interesting because hip-hop culture is different. It's got its own tremendous culture that's different from other forms of dance. Right. Can you give me a little bit of a background on what motivated you to make a film like this?
Yeah, when I came back to Taiwan about 5 years ago, and I tried to find a topic to film my first project over there, and by instantly I find a group of street dancers. Actually, they are break dancers. They're very different from the other type of the hip hop dance. Okay. And which touched me is they are not like ballet dancer. Yeah. They hopefully one day they can performing gracefully in the national theater stage, right? They are just doing it on the street. Then except for the bruise and the broken bones, I don't know what they actually can get from their dance. So in some way, a little bit like the filmmaker. We don't know what we're gonna get, except for people borrow money and to do the film or something, except for the patient. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know what to explain that. So probably that's the reason which touched me.
You felt there were similarities between filmmaking
I think so,
and hip-hop dancing and breakdancing specifically, because it's a struggle. It's an artist's struggle to express yourself. Right. Yeah, okay. Tell me about this film, the story.
The story is about group dancers, and they are fighting, struggle their way to the top. Then finally they find out maybe winning is not everything. Life is bigger than just win and lose. Yeah. So that's and what I can say, just be yourself, have fun in your life. That's the very simple theme of the movie. Okay,
wonderful. After living in Los Angeles, I believe you had a production company here in Hollywood, and then you decided to go back to Taiwan, and now you're one of the most acclaimed screenwriters in Taiwan. Tell me, how has your perspective on filmmaking changed, having spent time here in the United States? What type of films do you want to make?
When I go back to Taiwan, probably a little bit different, because the timing of going back, actually the Taiwan's movie is going to the bottom. The box office growth, is very, very low compared to the Hollywood movie. And then that really inspires you to find a topic, make you think, how can you, attract the audience come back to the theater? You got to find something, more universal language, and more universal, like a topic which can touch the people, can attract them back to the theater. So that's why I pick up the film, pick up the subject. And doing film here in Hollywood is very different. Everything is about, what's the movie what's the gross box office, how much you can get. The bottom line is that, and then you got to start attach or something. Yes. But you back to Taiwan, a totally different scenario. You got to start it from scratch. Including the training your actors to do the thing. But I feel that more challenging for me in some ways. So I really enjoy
and sometimes it's more maybe an authentic voice when you have actors that, maybe it's their first film. So I heard that you have another film coming out, also with 3 brand new, never had acted before actresses. Right. Can you tell us about that film?